Shekhar Sahuji, Senior Chartered Accountant, Shri Suresh Das ji, who have created a wonderful book about Suresh Prabhu ji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a privilege and a pleasure to be present on this special occasion of the launch of the coffee table book on Shri Suresh Prabhu ji, an eminent statesman whose life and work continue to inspire countless people across our nation. Some leaders are remembered for the offices they held, while a few are remembered for the ideas they championed and the values they embodied. Shri Suresh Prabhu ji belongs to this rare category. His journey reminds us that public life, when guided by vision, integrity, and compassion, can become a powerful instrument of national transformation. At the outset, I warmly congratulate Shri Sabyasachi Das, the editor of this coffee table book, for bringing together this remarkable work. This publication is not merely a collection of photographs and memories. It is a celebration of a life devoted to public service and nation building. It captures the essence of a leader who has combined intellectual depth with administrative excellence and has remained steadfast in his commitment to the country's progress. Friends, Shri Suresh Prabhuji's public life, spanning over 4 decades, is a shining example of dedication, innovation, and purposeful leadership. I have had the privilege of knowing Prabhuji personally since 2002. Shri Suresh Prabhuji was the chairman of the task force on interlinking of rivers, which was constituted by the NDA government led by the late Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. At that time, I was a member of Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly in the combined state of AP and was appointed as a member of the task force along with Shri Piyush Goyal ji. The task force did commendable work in preparing the feasibility reports for various interlinking of river projects, laying a strong foundation for this visionary national initiative. As you all aware, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's dream project is the interlinking of rivers, and very rightly Suresh Prabhuji was chosen as the chairman of the task force. I think we did that work for about 2 years, working on 18 link projects prepared by National Water Development Agency, Ministry of Water Resources. These 18 link projects, if they are completed, the total interlinking of project will be complete. There are certain projects which are intra-river linking. There are certain projects interstate linking. As you all aware today, how much difficulty to convince the political leadership to share the waters with the other. Therefore, the first attempt was made to take up the intrastate linking. In that, the first project came as the Polavaram Krishna Godavari link project. In the intrastate projects, the first project for which DPR was made is the Ken-Betwa link. At the time, Suresh Prabhuji travelled all the way to Hyderabad and we had a breakfast meeting with the Chief Minister. But for different political reasons, it has not got through. Similarly, the Ken-Betwa link, which is between Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. At the time, the elections are in offing. When the task force tried to at least lay foundation stones for at least one or two projects, but that effort is futile. At the time, even for Ken-Betwa, the political leadership of Uttar Pradesh, they did not agree to lay the foundation for that project. And after almost 22 years, that link project was proposed. I am very happy to inform you, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has recently laid foundation stone for this Ken-Betwa link project. And fortunately or unfortunately, the State Reorganization Act of Andhra Pradesh created two states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Because the Polavaram project was mentioned as a national project in the Act, that project also was taken up for execution. Now it is in the full swing. The Polavaram project work also will be complete within a short period of time. At least we are happy to see two of the link projects envisaged at the time are going to be fruitful. And lot of advantages, as he mentioned, how a water deficit regions can obtain water from the water surplus regions. That is the major idea. To avoid floods in the rivers like Mahanadi or Brahmaputra, that these link projects are vital and necessary. As a parliamentarian for 26 years and as a union minister handling 10 important portfolios, he has left an indelible mark on India's development journey. Whether in power, railways, commerce and industry or civil aviation, his approach has always been forward-looking and reform-oriented. After my association with him in interlinking of rivers project, fortunately I became Member of Parliament Lok Sabha from Visakhapatnam constituency for the 5 years between 2014 and 19. I had a very close association with Suresh Prabhuji. His tenure as Minister of Railways stands out as a landmark period of transformation. What he has introduced in railways was mentioned briefly by the author. He introduced technology-driven solutions, strengthened transparency and accountability, and placed the citizen at the center of governance. His reforms demonstrated that institutions can be modernized while remaining sensitive to the needs of ordinary people. As Minister of Commerce and Industry, he worked tirelessly to strengthen India's economic foundations and enhance its role in global trade. Now you can see in newspapers how the global trade is very much important, particularly after Mr. Trump laying so much of tariffs on various countries, on various products, and how a country has a difficult task of negotiating the international trade with other nations. In civil aviation, his policies contributed to expanding connectivity and making air travel more accessible to people across the country. Maybe the poorest of the poor people, I think our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that people with Hawaii chappals should have the air travel. I think that is being possible with his policy in civil aviation. His contributions to the energy sector and his role in drafting India's integrated energy policy continue to influence policy making even today. I can tell you the Electricity Act reforms which he has brought in 2003. 2003, that act gave very good impetus for electricity reforms. In Odisha, I am very happy that the power distribution is privatized and Tata companies are doing the distribution. But before that act, it was not possible for the state governments to take up private distribution of the power. And at one point of time, the distribution companies have become bankrupt. They are purchasing the power, distributing to the people. Meanwhile, the state governments lays the policy of giving free electricity to many of the sectors. The distribution companies, DISCOMs, do not have the money to pay for the purchases of power they make. And almost all DISCOMs are in a very bad financial position. Even to come from that dire crisis, the Act has enabled the DISCOMs to be viable and healthier. When I was a member of parliament, I was made the chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Energy in the year 2017, 18, 19. When I became the chairman, when I wanted to select the subject I chosen, the very first subject I have chosen is the NPAs in the thermal power sector. At that time, 35 thermal projects were in NPAs and about to be referred to NCLT. Therefore, I wanted to find out the reasons and make recommendations to the government from the Standing Committee of the Energy. First, I called Coal Secretary. Sir, thermal projects have become NPAs. Whether your department is in a position to supply the coal, whatever that is required by the thermal projects. But there is no problem at all. Whatever the coal required by the thermal projects, we are supplying. Second, I invited member Railway Board. I was inquiring from him whether the railways are in a position to transport the coal to the respective thermal companies so that they can function without much problem. The moment Coal India takes out the coal outside the mine, we are ready to transport to any of the projects, whoever wants the coal. Then coal is available, transport is available, then why these companies have become sick? Then I thought this is not the way to call separately everybody. I invited the managements of 35 NPA thermal power project managements. I invited coal department officials, railway officials, power ministry officials, and then I asked, I think about 150 people in that hall in the consultative committee meeting, standing committee meeting. I gave chance for everybody to express their opinion. And I asked the officials, please listen why they have become NPS. The major problem they mentioned is about that we are not getting sufficient coal. Even NTPC is having 1 day, 2 day coal reserves in the thermal plants. That is the fact in those days. Railways do not have rakes to transport to all the thermal plants. The third problem is when we are supplying the power we generated to the DISCOMs, we don't know when the DISCOMs will pay to us. They have to pay cash to buy coal. They have to pay cash to transport the material to their plants by railways. Whatever the raw material required for that companies are to be purchased with cash, but the product they generate, the electricity, should be given on credit. How the industry will survive? Whether they give that money or not are also they are not clear. That is why 35 thermal plants were in troubles. If they are going to be referred to NCLT, foreign equity funds are ready to capture. They invested about 7 to 8 crores of rupees per megawatt. They are quoting only 1 crore, 2 crores per megawatt. If they are being referred to NCLT, all the thermal projects are going to be in the hands of the foreign equity players. We made a strong recommendation that we should avoid such type of situation. It is going to be a major problem for the power supply in the country. Such DISCOMs, to become healthier, the basic foundation is the reforms which were brought by Suresh Prabhu in the year 2003. Now Power Ministry is insisting DISCOMs, they are giving financial aid. Also they are insisting you open LC for the supply of power from the companies. Somewhat the health of the DISCOMs are improving nowadays. Equally significant has been his contribution on the global stage. As I mentioned about the tariffs and other anti-dumping duties and defensive policies of one country against the other and so on, as India's Sherpa to the G20 and G7, Shri Prabhuji represented the nation with wisdom and conviction, helping shape discussions on issues of global importance and advancing India's interests with distinction. But beyond the achievements and accolades lies the true lessons of his life. His journey teaches the younger generation that leadership is not about seeking positions. Leadership is not about becoming MLA, MP or other position. It is about creating possibilities. It teaches us that knowledge must be accompanied by humility, that reforms must be guided by compassion, and that true success lies in working tirelessly for the larger good. In an age that often celebrates instant results, Shri Suresh Prabhu reminds us of the enduring value of perseverance, integrity, and a long-term vision. His life assures us that one individual, armed with conviction and guided by values, can make a meaningful difference to society and to the nation. This coffee table book is therefore much more than a tribute to an accomplished leader. It is a source of inspiration. It is a repository of ideas and experiences that will motivate students, scholars, policymakers, and citizens to contribute to the making of a stronger, more prosperous, and more compassionate India. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to everyone associated with this publication. I convey my best wishes for its grand success and sincerely hope that it reaches a wide audience and finds a cherished place in homes, libraries, and institutions across the country. May it inspire many more people to dedicate themselves to the service of the nation, just as Shri Suresh Prabhu has done throughout his exemplary life. Thank you. Vande Utkala Janani. Jai Hind.
Many thanks to the Honorable Governor of Odisha, to Shri Suresh